Alright everyone, it's time to talk about how the Green Party has completely sold out. The Green Party is a far-left movement, real progressives as opposed to like the corporate Democrats. And if you are on the left, I'd understand why you'd support them, because the neoliberals within the Democratic Party have completely sold you down the river. They don't believe in progressivism, they just promise everything to everyone, get them to vote for them during elections, then do nothing. It's like, oh yeah, we were on the forefront of gay rights. You know, says Hillary Clinton. Bullshit. The Libertarian Party took up that banner in the 1970s. You had nothing to do with it. You rolled over and played dead when the Republicans were actually using that as a wedge issue. Just as they rolled over on gun laws until now. And Trump's the only Republican who's actually made a concerted effort, by the way, to support the Second Amendment by repealing gun laws that are already on the books. Kudos to Trump, by the way. That's probably going to be one of your most popular moves, like the Hearing Protection Act and some of this other stuff. Reversing the ammo ban, I think, is in the works or has already gone through. Good stuff. Yeah, it's a great time for the Second Amendment. I'm not surprised that he's going to speak to the NRA. He's going to get several rounds of applause there. The Green Party, though, now has decided being anti-establishment and actually on the left is no longer working for them. Like, I guess hippie grandma Jill Stein needed Saudi money in order to fund her weed habit or something, because now they're working with the Council on American Islamic Relations, CAIR, that Saudi-backed group of, you know, Islamofascists. They're zealots. They constantly go on the news with their spokespeople to excuse every time somebody is Islamic and does something wrong. They go on the news and explain how somehow it couldn't possibly have had anything to do with being a religious zealot. Now, is there a similar group for Christians? So when some Christian bombs an abortion clinic because of their understanding of Christianity, they can get some cover, they can get like a free lawyer, and somebody will go on the news and say, oh, it had nothing to do with Jesus, it had nothing to do with organized Christianity, it had nothing to do with the dogma, it's just a sick individual, put him in a nut ward because obviously it couldn't have been religion that caused them to do this. Now, the Green Party and leftists in general have spent decades attacking organized religion in this country. They attacked Christianity constantly, especially the evangelicals, on the basis of they don't like gay rights, they want women barefoot in the kitchen, and all of these other things. They don't like abortion. They're not standing up enough for like some oppressed racial group or something, or the lower socioeconomic rungs, and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile now, the Green Party is openly in talks with a group that is backed by a monarchy in which there are zero women's rights, gays are thrown from buildings, rape victims are killed by stoning, in which most of their money comes from oil through corporate endeavors and guaranteed by every other U.S. proxy war in the Middle East. That is now the platform of the far left in this country, apparently. Pro-corporate, pro-fossil fuel industry, pro-monarchy, anti-gay rights, anti-women's rights. These are things that stem from Arabia. These are things that stem from that specific type of Islam. I'm not going to tar them all with the same feather. You've also got the Shiites. They don't even like the Sunnis. Still oil-related, still corporate-related, but different understanding of the basic dogma. They've got, I think, a different... They have Prophet Muhammad, but then they also have, like, I think it's Muhammad's brother Ali or something, and they venerate him too in some of his teachings. And then you've got all these other groups that are sort of scattered around. They have their own interpretations. You got like the Sufis, and they have some of their own beliefs. And you've got the Wahhabi sect, which is like the, you know, the hardliners from Arabia. So you've got all these different groups. But this is still, no matter which way you cut it, it's an organized religion. The far left is now openly proclaiming, oh yeah, organized religion's fine. Oh, Islamophobia is a problem. What about Christophobia? What if a bunch of people had a problem with, like, you know, African Christians or something? You know, they over there, you look at like the Ita de Pupu video or something. They talk about gays are degenerate and should be ostracized or in some cases killed. That's common in parts of the Christian world, the third world Christian movements, that is. Women's rights really aren't a thing there. To some degree, in some places, there's some, like women can own a business, they can go to work and stuff, but they're still seen as second-class citizens, generally speaking. They kill people for being possessed or, you know, pagans, animists, they're killed all the time. You know, my fellow pagans in Africa, they have a hard time whether they're in Christian Africa, Islamic Africa. It doesn't really matter. They have to be in the middle of the fucking Congolese basin to be left alone. They have to be like in Gabon or the middle of the Congo or something. Even then you have like tribal warfare. Some guerrilla group, some communist group or some like ANCAP group. It's like a military group, paramilitary forces that go around and abuse people and take all their crops or whatever. And that happens all the time in parts of the third world. So what's the difference? I'm not understanding quite the difference other than Christianity is seen as a native religion of the West. Like, oh, it's the natural, this is the old, boring establishment religion of like Europe. No, it's not. Christianity is a Middle Eastern cult that spread around the Mediterranean in the times of idiot Constantine and then was exported to the Western world. So how's it different from Islam? It's not even like a native European religion. You're talking about the Odinism and stuff like that, or the Hellene tradition, something like that. Maybe the pre-Christian Roman religion or something like that. Those are the native religions of Europe. It has nothing to do with Christ. It has nothing to do with Jesus. That's a Middle Eastern group too. Judaism, Middle Eastern. The fact that a lot of the people that practice it are of like East European, white Russian origin, into like, the Caucasus region or northern Turkey, it doesn't matter. It's not native European at all. None of these movements are. So what's the fucking difference? Christian says, oh, well, I think women they're different from men. Oh, the whore, it's terrible. You're oppressing women. Check your privilege. But then somebody who's an Islamic zealot says, yeah, I think women should be like, hit in the head with a rock for getting raped or something. They have no problem with it. They're talking openly with these same zealots. There's no problem with Islamophobia in the Western world. When I criticize Islam, I criticize it on the same basis that I criticize Christianity all the time. It's an organized religion. It can be oppressive depending on how you interpret the dogma. Maybe more given over to that than many Christian movements. Again, depends on the group. There are some Muslims that are totally secular. Like, yeah, I believe in Allah, I'm a Muslim. And they don't do anything. Okay, well, they're not really religious. Maybe spiritual, they might be a theist. They're not really part of an organized religion, though. They're not bending to any of the dogmatic tenets of that religious group. The same is true of Christians. They're Christians. They go to, oh, yeah, I went to the Easter service, and I go to church on Christmas, and I say, yeah, oh, the baby Jesus and the manger and stuff. That's all they do. Maybe they forgo red meat on Lent or something like that. That's all they do. It's not really religious. It's just they happen to be a theist. They believe in that particular deity. Or it'd be like many pagans. Oh yeah, praise Odin. And they don't go around lighting bonfires all the time and getting wasted on hallucinogenics. It just doesn't happen. But then you've got the Green Party openly talking to and bowing before this group that is purely Islamofascist. This is one of those Saudi-funded sort of oil diaspora groups from that part of the Middle East that doesn't believe in women's rights, that doesn't believe in gay rights, and really just wants to spread political Islam so they can make more money. It's a money-making endeavor, led by a monarchist movement, with utter autocratic powers, unchallenged. There's no legislative body there to contain what they happen to want to do. I'm of the belief that the Green Party must just be looking at their redistribution economics over there, like the handouts that they give to the lower classes, and they just assume that they're great people. Oh, socialism, yeah, socialism irrespective of anything else. Jill Stein, hippie grandma, smoking that dank oil weed or something like that. It's crazy. So yeah, they've sold out. Yeah, it'd be like if the Libertarian Party were in talks with the Iranians. Oh, we've decided Shia Islam is a libertarian religion, so we're gonna, defend them from all criticism. Shame on you for wanting to bomb Iran, not because bombing violates the NAP, but because they're Shia or something like that. Wonderful people. Why don't you levy the same philosophical criticism at Islamic movements as you do at Christianity? I know I will. I'm not afraid to say it. Judaism, same thing. Yeah, there are violations of women's rights all over the Judaistic world. You look at Israel. Yeah, there are severe Orthodox individuals there that have some weird beliefs when it comes to women. I believe there's one practice they have where on the wedding night, the father actually deflowers the daughter by like pushing a handkerchief up into her and then presents it to the groom or something. I don't know. Okay, if that's what you want to do, but then again, what if the bride doesn't want to do that and is sort of forced into it? I'm sure it happens on a regular basis. Or they have the tradition there with the moles, M-O-H-E-L, and they do some rituals. You can look them up for yourself. I'm not even going to really talk about the content involving circumcision. Not exactly the sort of tradition you would expect in the Western world to be tolerated, but okay. Yeah, I guess that's all right too, as long as they're not Christian zealots, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not. If you're going to be like classical liberal, if you're going to support freedom, liberty, and equality and all these things, or at least equality of possibility, not of outcome, we're not communists. If you're going to support these things, how the hell are you supposed to support some oil-backed, like, monarchic group that speaks for religious zealots? We're not talking about the moderate Muslims. We're talking about zealots. These are the people that fund militias that fight for political Islam. It's the same thing. And this particular Islamic Council, the Islamic Relations, they speak for these same individuals who are militants or criminals or something and try to excuse their behavior on the nightly news. That's what their purpose is. They're basically just a half-assed lobbying group. Be like a little bit like the ADL or something like that. While at the same time, the left may look at them and say, oh, they're just trying to excuse, like, Israel's imperialism or something. Yeah, no shit. Well, this group that the Green Party is talking to, they do the same thing, but they do it for the Saudi Arabians. There's the secret. And yet a lot of the progressives, they don't realize the difference. They look at Muslims, they think of third worlders. They don't think of, like, white Muslims living in Europe or Russia or wherever, or Indonesia or something. They think of specifically the Middle East. They're like, oh, these poor people have been rocked by war over and over. Yes, but there was killing and brutality and stuff there anyway before our involvement. We didn't need to get involved for there to be problems there. You can look back at strictly occult literature from centuries ago, long before we had any substantial involvement within the region, and the same things are said. Outside of the Ottoman Empire, the Ottomans were considered to be fairly well off, fairly tolerant towards people towards the end. You know, after they got done fucking around with Vlad and similar people and stopped expanding, then they sort of become the sick man of Europe, though, so they don't last very long thereafter. I guess tolerance and diversity destroyed their culture, you could say. But yeah, the Green Party's full of crap. Hippie Grandma Jill Stein has decided that oil revenue and her weed fund are more important than actually being classically liberal and believing in freedom and liberty and things like that. Rather sad. That's about all. Peace out.